I work with every one of those guys, from firemen to police department, to veterinarians, to doctors, to lawyers. I work with every single one of them. You're going to get to see some of those pictures today.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So what's this first thing? What does that say? What is that?
It's like,
Go ahead.
kind of like solar flares and stuff.
Yeah.
I thought it was like solar flares.
Yeah, it's like just a blast of light, you know? So these are rays of light that happen. Now, all right, it's going to get a little harder. All right? What's that?
A dog, a person,
What if we talked about gamma rays? What's this?
an X-ray.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet you guys wish you had this picture.
Yeah,
He ate his homework. How many of you guys ever used that one? Yeah, you have used that one? Really? You haven't used that one? The dog ate my homework. Come on. Anyways, you're right. That's called an X-ray. All right? How about this one?
That's a black light.
Yeah.
Black light, another name for it. Okay. What's UV stand for? You said ultraviolet? Cool. You're the first one to say what it was, really. So you know what I'm going to give you? A really cool pencil. But this is not your ordinary pencil. You'll learn why in a few minutes. Hold your hand on it and take a look at it.
It changes colors.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I bet you all want to earn one of those now, huh? All right. All right, so this is called ultraviolet. Now, I'm leading up to something here. All of these things are unique. They all have a common interest in something, okay? Now, any of you play Pictionary?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, let's go with it. Who wants to get this? Because it might be 2 pencils. 2 pencils, that could be the winner of this one. And if you only get half, then it's only one. And if you don't get any, but this is 2 words. 2 words.
I know.
Yes, go you.
Highlight.
Okay, anybody else? Come on.
Bright light.
Okay,
Highlight.
we were talking about, remember, the hint is everything's combined. Gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet, yes.
Gamma light.
No? What do you think? 2 words. Starts with a V, the first word. Huh? 2 words. I'll give you another chance to earn it, but tell me when you guys give up. You giving up?
No.
No? You want that pencil, don't you? 2 words. What's this? What's this?
Eyeball.
Huh?
Eyeball. Bulb light. Bulb light.
Okay, we were talking about, now I want you guys to understand something. You guys learned about this in 5th and 6th grade. Yes. Yes. You're going to know. It's going to make sense in a few minutes. We talked about gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet. They all have something in common. This is the next thing in order.
Radioactivity something.
No?
Oh.
Right. It's coming to you. You're feeling it.
It's like violet light or something like that.
We can see.
Night vision goggles.
Huh?
Vision light or something.
All right, I got to give it up to you guys because it's only got so long for this. You'll have another chance to earn visible light. Remember, we were clues with everything we talked about already. We talked about gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet, visible light. Okay, guess what? What's the next one? If anybody gets this one, like I said, you guys learned about this already.
Fifth grade.
You know the program, Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader? Come on!
That was 3 years ago.
Well, you're supposed to retain all this stuff. This is important. I'm going to show you how you can make lots of money with this stuff.
I like money.
All right, is it a surfing wave?
No.
Oh, no. Remember we had waves? It's not a surfing wave?
No.
All right. What about these?
Radioactive. Radioactive. Because
No?
no.
These are 2 things.
Microwaves are radioactive.
Microwaves. And what's this one?
Towers. Like it's like signal towers. Signal towers. Signal
Okay, but what is this right here?
waves. Visible light. Waves. Waves. Those are waves.
All right. You guys are going to be so smart when you leave this.
Signal waves.
Huh? See, you just got to pull it out of your brain, that's all. Signal waves?
Yeah.
Radio waves. Now,
I have that.
guess what, guys? All of these things we talked about, except for the one we didn't tell you? The surfing wave one, that's not it. It's something else. All of these are part of one common interest. What is that?
They're waves? No, it has to do with,
How about this? They're all part of the electromagnetic spectrum. Now, how many of you guys remember learning this? Now we're starting to get it. It's all part of the electromagnetic spectrum. So we had one thing that was missing. Infrared. That's what we're going to talk about today. See? All of those things had unique in common with, we had our gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet. Visible is what you guys can see. So when you guys look at a wall, I'm going to tell you something that's just going to blow you away. You're going to blow away all your friends. Because you can ask them this question. This is science. What color is this?
yellow.
What color is this?
Purple.
Anybody disagree?
No. Wait. Yellow.
You know that I was setting you up for a trick question, didn't you? Huh? Okay. What color is it when we turn out all the lights?
Black.
Do you know what you're seeing? A reflection of light. You know, what you're seeing here is it absorbs energy and it reflects yellow. See, your eyes can perceive color, but this object is actually gray. It's different shades of gray. So if you remove light, everything you're seeing is a reflection of light. When you're looking at a tree and you say, that's green and brown, no. At nighttime, what color is it? Gray and lighter gray. If the moon's not lit, you can't, if the moon's not out, you cannot see color unless you have light. So everything you guys are seeing is a reflection of light. So when you look in this, you guys are going to see that visible light covers this much of that electromagnetic spectrum. That means there's so many more things that our eyes can't see unless we had a really cool tool like this. Okay? So if you Wikipedia it, it's part of the infrared electromagnetic spectrum. And you know, with your own eyes, you can see a little bit of the infrared. You ever seen like an electric hot plate?
Yeah.
And when it gets red, it starts to emit part of the infrared spectrum. You know who discovered it? A guy named William Herschel. Anybody want to take a guess on what else he discovered? He discovered a planet. This is in the 1800s. But he's famous not as much for infrared as he was for discovering this planet. Every one of you know it. Come on, there's only so many options. Huh? No?
Venus.
No? Okay, who said Uranus? All right, we'll give you a pen. Yes. He was famous for the discovery of Uranus. All right, so I want you to understand how infrared works, and then we're going to get to some of the fun of helping you kind of what this would be and how to be in this profession and how you can make money. How he discovered it was he put a thermometer in the 1800s on the color blue. And then he put a thermometer on green and then yellow and then red. And guess what happened? Every time he moved the thermometer, he found that every color was getting warmer. And then he moved the thermometer just beyond red and he found out it was the hottest temperature of all. And he couldn't see it. So have you ever seen a prism where a sun comes through a window and it splits into colors? He had no idea until he put that thermometer there that it was the hottest. So he realized there was something he couldn't physically see. Okay? And that's how he discovered it. So since everything in life has a temperature...
That was easy.
Yeah, I just happened to find one of those in this classroom. So everything in life has a temperature. You have a temperature. Your dog has a temperature. Your house has a temperature. And when something goes wrong, usually that temperature changes. And so I picked a profession with science and helping people figure out where the problems are. So this is me kind of suited up. But if I can do something that helps people and I can make some money at it, cool. Wait till you hear how much you can make in this kind of profession. All right, so what is a thermographer? It's somebody who's an expert of temperature. He's somebody who has a device like a camera, and he can look at objects and things, and he figures out where these problems are. He's also going to be an expert in a field. So what are you going to do with your life? What would you like to be when you get up there? How about you? Animator. This girl right here, she wants to talk to you. That's what she went to school for. What would you like to do?
Something in media.
Something in media. Wow, we got a lot of video production people here.
I'm not sure.
Not sure yet. See, that's the goal of today, is to inspire you. How about you?
I don't know.
You don't know yet? That's okay. That's what today's about. Not sure yet? Huh? Architecture. Okay, so just so you know, except for architecture, there are some areas with architecture, because I work with architects on buildings, but everything in life deals with temperature one way or another. Okay? And even though you may not know what you're doing, there's a reasons why we have these career days, is to help you understand what kinds of things you can do. So, what kind of education would you have to do? One of the things for someone to be in my profession, you have to have a strong understanding of science and math. It's very important, because I calculate numbers, and I have to understand the science, which is what I gave you guys a basics on with the electromagnetic spectrum. You got to finish high school. There's just no way around it. All right? In a college degree, if you plan on being on business for yourself or working for someone, the college degree can be the difference of making this wage or this wage. Okay? So it's very important. In marketing, if you're going to be in business for yourself, marketing major always helps. And if you have a certain field of study, now I look at everything, but you might have a specialty. There's thermographers who specialize in just electrical work. There's thermographers who work specially just in women's health. There's ones that work just with veterinarians. To be certified, in addition to all those schooling, you have to do additional certifications. Now, I'm a level 3 thermographer. Now, to be a level 1, you have to be 32 hours, level 2, another 32 hours, and level 3, another 32 hours. So I have about 96 hours specific training just to utilizing a camera, and that's on top of any other education I have. And then you want to be specialist with those special fields. Now, to do this, you have to be able to communicate and talk to people, because when I do my job, I have to tell people an interpretation of what I see in this picture. And you have to work with other people, so when I do work, I usually have other people that do things for me. For example, yesterday I was working at a university, okay, in Los Angeles, and I do all of their electrical system. I have 2 electricians who open up the electrical panels for me, and then I come in and take pictures and look for the problems, okay? And if you're a medical staff, if you're working with a doctor's office, there's people who prepare a patient for the thermographer to come in and do the imaging. And computers are very important, because everything I do, this is digital, okay? So everything goes in this camera, and I have to create a report of my findings. So computer skills will always be important. And the dress code will change. I have days that I can be in jeans, and there's days that I'm wearing a nicer clothing if I'm working with attorneys and stuff. Your personality, here's what I recommend. You have to be outgoing, energetic. You have to be willing to go the extra mile for your customers, because they're always going to be asking you, what can you do? I have never started a job where others didn't get amazed and start, well, what are you doing? What is this? Because they're so fascinated about the things that I can help people with. Okay? And so they always want to, hey, what's this? They're willing to pay me more money, and I'm willing to take it, right? All right. So if you work with a company, every Fortune 500 company has a thermographer working for them. You just didn't know it. Ford Motor Company probably has at least 50 that work for them. Hewlett Packard, some of the biggest companies in the world. They utilize thermography because temperature is everything. How many of you like a hamburger cold? Well, some might. I didn't say pizza because I know there's a preference on some of those. But hamburgers always have to be cooked to a certain temperature. So temperature is everything. Now, a couple things about me. I've been a building inspector for 17 years, so that was my specialty. I've inspected over 7,000 homes, and I've done as well as commercial buildings. I have worked in some of the biggest people that you guys would know. Anybody know who Hurley? You ever see the clothing Hurley? I met Bob Hurley. I inspected his house. I did an infrared at Bob Hurley's house. Any of you ever wore Vans tennis shoes?
Yeah.
I inspected Van Dorn's home in Orange County, California. I have been with some of the biggest people in the industry. Any of you ever heard of Richard Nixon? I inspected his house in San Clemente, and I have infrared pictures of his home. Very few people have ever been to that. It's the Western White House. So I've been able to work with some of these people and amongst other celebrities and people out there. But I realized when the economy started to change, I started a thermal imaging company 9 years ago, and then shortly after that, I started a national company, and actually international. We have over 300 guys that work for me that do thermal imaging in 43 U.S. states and 9 countries. And so I have people I just trained somebody 2 weeks ago that came out from Ireland just to learn how to scan horses from our company. I have somebody coming next month from Australia to learn from me. They're going to be coming to our office here in Bonsall, and I'm going to be doing private training with them on how to image horses. So, level 3 thermographer, I'm a code certified building inspector, home inspector, and I'm also an energy rater. And yes, I am licensed with the state of California Horse Racing Board to scan horses as an assistant to veterinarian. It's weird. How do you get a guy who does construction and then looks at horses? Weird. You know what? I picked a profession that does temperature, and everything has a temperature. And so also, I have 2 kids, and if anybody, what grades is everybody in? 8th. Okay, so my son goes to this school. He's the shortest 8th grader. No, he's actually Matthew Hopkins, if any of you know who he is. Matthew's like 6 feet tall right now. I don't know what happened. He just got up there. So he can reach the projector too. Anyways, so Matthew claims he will be the youngest thermographer. He says he told me he wouldn't be coming to the class because he already knows everything. And he would give all the answers and win all the pencils. So that wasn't fair. So. All right, so how did I get into it? Anybody knows what happens when a shark stops swimming? What happens?
It dies.
It dies, correct. Look at that. Look at that. Here, catch. All right, I got more. I got more. I got more. All right, so in my business, I'm always thinking about next. I always think about what I'm going to do next. So for those who don't know what they're going to do with their life, that's okay, you got time. But the idea is to get a goal of some of the things that you like in life, okay? And so that's how I chose thermography, because I watched a movie. In 1987, I never forgot about it, it was called Predator. It was with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the alien had infrared vision. And I became fascinated with it. I never forgot about it, and I figured out how I can make money doing things like that. Okay? So, some of you may remember this song. And this goes in line with how do I do thermography? Well, before I do every job, I always think of this.
One of these things is not like the other. Which one is different? Do you know? Can you tell which thing is not like the other? I'll tell you if it is so.
All right, which one doesn't look like the other? There's no pencil on this one.
This one right here was different.
Yeah. So you know what I do? I look at things, and I'm going to give you an example on this next picture. All right? So this is me doing an electrical survey. This is big electrical equipment. Okay? Now, this is a circuit breaker, and these are the wires coming off of it. Which one looks the weirdest out of the 3 wires? The red one. Yeah. So when you look at the wires, which one doesn't look like the other? I just simply turn on a camera. Yep, this one doesn't look good. And then I calculate it and tell them how big of a risk it is. Do you guys know this is 150 degrees and this other wire is 65? This is considered a critical fault. And do you know that because I know the fault levels and because I was trained on it and because I knew how to take a picture of it, I save them potentially millions of dollars. Why? The only reason this is 150 degrees is because it's arcing. You know what a lightning bolt is? It has a miniature lightning bolt inside of here that's ready to catch fire. This was a fire waiting to happen. So I just saved the firemen from having to go out there because what they did, they tightened this connection up and the temperature went down. It was only because it was arcing inside of there. Okay, I work with the dairy industry. This is a cow. Kind of hard to see with the light. But I work, yeah, but you know this is a $4 billion problem. Any of you drink milk?
Yeah.
Okay, well, guess what? It starts right here with this cow. But right here, I worked with Cal Poly Pomona on this project, and this is called mastitis. So when you look at the udder, you see these, and then all of a sudden we had a red one. That's an infection. Mastitis happens with women too. And so this can happen when you get an infection, your body naturally tries to heal itself. And so it sends increased blood flow to fight off the infection. Well, increased blood flow is increased temperature. The camera that I use is sensitive to 1/20th of 1 degree variation. And this picture has 80,000 points of temperature measurement in one image. But this is one of the best pictures of mastitis that's been taken. And right after that, the university purchased a camera from me because I was able to take this picture. This is finding leaks in houses. So when you looked at this ceiling in this house, you couldn't see anything wrong. When I turned on the camera, I was able to see this dark area. That is water, but you couldn't physically see it. The reasons why water shows up, when things become wet, they radiate energy differently. In fact, they get cooler due to evaporative cooling. So if I have a tool that can see that, I'm all of a sudden a genius. How many of you would like to be looked at as a genius for the rest of your life? All right, we're with that one. Makes sense. This is for a college in Los Angeles. They hired every expert to come out and figure it out. They fixed it, and then a rain came and it leaked again. I showed up. It took me 3 hours. I took this picture, and I found these black lines in the walls. This is outside of the building. And I saw these black lines. I got up real close, and those were cracks in the wall. Those cracks were letting water into the building, and it was leaking. And so I was able to figure out where the leaks came from using a thermal imaging camera. And we solved the case. In fact, I was just with a bunch of lawyers about a month and a half ago in a deposition talking about something I did this 2 years ago. Okay? And have you been to the zoo? If you ever go see the elephants and you see one of the elephants' name is Devi, this is Devi. Now, remember that song? One of these things doesn't look like the other? Which one doesn't look the same? Yeah, that's a tendon injury. So when we talked about X-ray earlier, X-ray is only anatomical. It only sees your bones. It does not see soft tissue like muscle, nerve, tendons. All of those things can be seen with an infrared camera because the body naturally is trying to heal itself. It sends more blood flow. And so for months, this elephant couldn't be out to the public because they knew something was wrong. They just didn't know what. They did X-rays, couldn't find anything. I came in, it took me 5 minutes. And they paid me money. That was probably one of my most rewarding jobs because I got to work with the elephants, got to feed them. How many elephants you get to go up and feed and touch and everything? So it was really neat. That's me right there with Debbie. All right, this is a greenhouse here in Bonsall. The guy was spending a lot of money in utilities to keep his greenhouse warm because they're a propagator. They grow little seeds into plants. But the plants were dying because it wasn't getting warm enough. And then I figured out, I looked at this, these are the pipes that supply all the heating. And one of the pipes was cold. And I said, oh. And I found out one of his pumps was bad. I saved him thousands of dollars. And this is a horse. This right here is a broken leg. And you want to know what? They didn't know it. This horse was going to run at the racetrack just 5 days later. And they didn't run the horse because of me. I saved the horse's life. But you want to know what? 2.5 years later, this horse won the race of its life. They were able to heal the horse, get it better, and they raced it, and they won $1 million in one race. How many of you like to win $1 million? Okay, run around the track, whoever wins. No, I'm just kidding. It just ran around the track and won $1 million. Have you guys ever had Little Caesars pizza? Little Caesars hired me about 2 months ago to look at a freezer. It's where they keep all their stuff. This big freezer, huge. It's like as big as this entire building and then 2 of them. And I went to their freezers and I found all the leaks where the cold air was coming out of their freezers. And when I showed up, have any of you ever heard of, Little Green Monsters or Monster Energy drink? This is all the apples juice. When I went in the freezers, that's what they were loaded up with. This is all frozen apples, apple juice that goes into the Monster Energy. In fact, when I look at the label, it says Monster Energy. I work for the Navy. I just did this a month ago. This ship right here, this is over 1,000 feet long. It's 3 football fields long. Okay? I look at all their electrical. There's me working, looking at their cranes. This is a university down in San Diego. I can see water in the roofs. Okay? So when we look at a roof, this roof looks the same. I made all these marks because this is all trapped water that's inside the roof, and then we mark it off, and they just have to replace what's wet. Instead, some people replace the whole roof. So if you think about landfills and all the stuff that goes into a landfill, I'm saving the landfill because this customer was about to tear off the entire roof and put it in a landfill. And I stopped that because I only told them they had to replace this, not the whole roof. You guys see what's out your window here? Okay, so you probably got about, I don't know, 100 or 200 panels. This is several 100,000 panels. This is me going in an airplane. We did infrared, this is an infrared picture from the sky from about 1,000 feet high. And we're looking at several 100,000 solar panels. Did you know that when a solar panel goes bad, it gets hot? And that's what this is right here. So if you look close, you'll see these little white dots all over. There's thousands of them. Those were all bad panels. And we were able to help this client save millions of dollars. So my point is everything has a temperature. Okay? This is a house looking for missing insulation. You know, insulation helps keep your house warm in the winter, cool in the summer. Well, this guy didn't have any insulation, so he paid a company to put insulation in his walls. And it didn't change. He felt cold in his house still, so he hired me. And I told him he got half off. They only put half the insulation in his walls. Nobody checked their work. So he hired me, and because I'm able to see it's hot outside, when you have no insulation, the heat comes right through the wall. Okay? But where you have insulation, it doesn't. So that's this here. But this is missing. So I was able to help him find out why he wasn't getting hot or cold in his house. There's a lot of things you can do with it. And have you been out on the Star of India? Okay, you heard of these people who do these ghost hunts and stuff? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they hired me. So I went out, I'm with this guy, and he says, Peter, do you see anything with the infrared camera? And I said, what am I looking for? I don't know what a ghost looks like. I don't know if they exist. But they paid a lot of money to have it done, yes.
Wait, so they use that type of camera?
That's the camera.
To like for ghost hunting, like that airflight stuff? Oh, yeah.
That is. Bigfoot has called us. The searching for Sasquatch has called us. So, now, the question is, does it exist, and how are you going to find them? The problem with all these organizations is they have no money. I want to charge them a lot of money to go out and look for something that doesn't exist. So, and they don't have any money. They just want me to come for free so I can be on TV. I've been on TV. I don't need that. But anyways, this was on a ship. They paid me $14,000. They bought a camera from me. So the question is, why do I do this? Okay? Yes? All right. So with years of experience, this is what 4 days of work paid me. Okay? It's $4,000. I have jobs that have paid me $2,000 in 2 hours of work. Okay? So you can make really good money in this. It doesn't happen every day. Okay? This is a check I just got last week. Okay? This is from the university in Northridge. And this is regular work. Now, do I do every day like this? No. Today, I'm doing this. I'm coming and helping you guys understand what we do. But later today, I have a moisture investigation I have to do on a house up in Orange County. So, you know, this kind of money is here and there, but... So closing comments, I looked at everything from houses to horses, okay? You never know what you might get to call to inspect. And you can make good money in a unique application, probably something none of you have ever thought of. And my take-home message for you guys is that no matter what you do in life, it doesn't... So, yeah, I'm going to... Right here, my point is, if you love what you do, it's not a job anymore. And if somebody's willing to pay you money for something you love, that's what I recommend for you guys. Okay, question?
Why do you work with lawyers?
Because lawyers hire me to investigate buildings and look at when they got leaks that come in. So if somebody like has a leak in their house and they sue their builder or the contractor, lawyers get involved. And then the lawyers hire me to figure out what actually happened. Okay? Any other questions? Go get some nutrition. All right, you guys can have a lollipop. We have what's called nanopops, and they explain the electromagnetic spectrum to you guys. I don't know how nutritious they are, but...